Anything else, Rob?
Nope.
Ready to go? Rob!
Woo! Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
I'm going to start off with a, while I get everything prepared here, I'm going to start off with my disclaimers, which are, I'm not here for anybody, not the government, not the military. Aaron and the people here do not know anything of what I'm going to talk about. So don't hold them responsible for anything more than a lack of information. And I guarantee you it's going to be fun. To tell you who I am, you didn't get that much of who I am and why I'm here. Who I am and why I'm here is a little bit convoluted. 4 years ago, I got an invitation, and they said, hey, we understand you give invited keynote speeches at classified military conferences. We'd love it if you'd send one of your classified lectures to us over email, and we'll consider it. And I get these from time to time, and I consider them to be a, they're a farce to me. So I wrote back and I said, thanks, but no thanks. You guys need infotainment, not the truth. The military community needs the truth, so why don't you go? And I named a couple of people. Go get them. They're clowns. They'll be happy to talk to you. And they wrote back, and I don't normally get this, but they wrote back and they said, no, we really do want the truth. Please send one of your classified lectures and we'll look at it. And I said, okay, look, if you make me the keynote, I'll come at my own expense, and you can buy another keynote. And they made me the 2002 opening keynote, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I knew it was going to be the truth, and they didn't know what I was going to talk about, and boy, I gave a keynote. The title of my speech insulted the audience. What else did I do here? I ridiculed one of the speakers by name. Is Casey J. Dunleavy here today? Oh, can't win them all. I showed a disturbing 9/11 photo to drive home one of my points. I brandished a knife on stage to drive home another one of my points. And then I flipped the audience off with both fingers. And they invited me back. So this is right from Aaron. Your talk is still one of the most talked about and most popular keynotes we've ever had. Now, I want you to understand, I don't have a product or a service to sell. I'm not like one of the sponsors here. And by the way, don't hold the sponsors responsible for anything that's coming out of here. I don't have a book, a service, a product, nothing. All I'm here to do is give you the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, then you're going to have to find some other excuse to ignore me. Because the truth is, it's 4 years later, and you still have an unrequited love with Joe Sixpack. Joe Sixpack still doesn't care about your heroic digital exploits. Now, let's recap from 4 years ago. Who is Joe Sixpack? Joe Sixpack includes that grandmother on Social Security. When you talk to her about Code Red, she thinks, oh, I've fallen and I can't get up. That's what Code Red is to her. And when you talk to an auto worker in Detroit, you say NIMDA, he thinks it's an automobile coming out of Japan. He wants those viruses to invade the Japanese robots that are taking away union jobs. And then you talk to a Nebraska farmer, he thinks Code Red means one of his cows has bleeding udders. Oh, I'm going to have to sell my milk to the cheese factory instead of the milk factory. By the way, Code Red is why milk is white and cheese is not white. Right? And then we've got a professional trucker. You talk to him about Code Red. This Joe Sixpack thinks that, oh my God, there was a speed trap. I better slow down. And then, of course, you got an Amish family. Oh, the Lord forbids internet before marriage. And then you've got that stockbroker in New York City. You talk to him about Code Red and it's, an aircraft is striking my building. These are the Joe Sixpacks that you're trying to get to love you as computer security professionals, and they're not buying it. But there's another one that's not buying it either, and that's an Al-Qaeda terrorist. This is the kind of guy who lives off the land, sleeps in an Afghanistan cave, he wields an AK-47, and he rides into combat on a horse. This is the kind of guy who likes the exquisite finality of a simple bayonet thrust. He doesn't want to kill you with a computer. He wants to kill you with a knife. He wants to drive it into your chest, and he wants to watch your eyes glaze over. And preferably, he wants to die in the process so he can go off to Valhalla or wherever it is where he gets his 72 virgins, right? And this is the kind of guy who likes to strap explosives to his or her chest. They're using women now. And this is, when we go to Iraq and our soldiers are losing limbs, it's not because of an internet explosive device, okay? It's an improvised explosive device. And we're talking a guy who likes to fly aircraft into skyscrapers. Oh, if he had flown just 20 miles more and crashed into a very special building, he could have taken out 90% of America's telecommunications infrastructure. Yeah, that's going to drive a stake into Joe Sixpack's heart. So, what's happened in the last 4 years since I came here? What's happened, and you've been trying to talk to Joe Sixpack. Well, you've been telling him, hey, newsflash, terrorists now surf the web. Not only is your grandmother surfing to get those latest knitting needle patterns, but terrorists are downloading knitting needle patterns too. And they're downloading SCADA technology and all sorts of things. You've been telling that to Joe Sixpack. And you've been telling him that hostile governments are now breaking into government and military computers. Never before in the history of man has a government ever gotten data from another government against its will. But now they can, thanks to computers. And hey, guess what? Hospitals and power companies are using computers on an almost daily basis now. Yeah, that's why you've got to go to the hospital and get your grandmother and take her away from the hospital. Otherwise, the terrorists are going to hack into her iron lung. You got to get her out. Maybe you'll only have 6 to 8 hours with her, but at least she'll die in your arms. Right? She won't die, you know, like horribly in an iron lung. And then finally, this is from Senator Charles Schumer in New York. Foreign students are coming to the United States so that they can learn computer science and maybe use it against us. And that's why you see Senator Schumer calling for the expulsion of Canadian computer science students. Because we all know those Canadians in Canada, they're really dangerous. Oh man, we could solve the Canadian problem. It's a day trip. 29 tanks, that's all I need, you know? Ah, well. But this is the new Y2K hysteria that you are using to try to get Joe Sixpack to love you. You've been telling him, oh my God, every American in the United States is going to be the victim of identity theft in his or her lifetime. Why, I know a friend of a friend who was digitally raped. And then you go off and you tell him things like, the state of Idaho knows every SCADA flaw that's ever been detected. And if the state of Idaho ever wants to secede from the Union, we're powerless to stop them. They would be like the ballsy version of Quebec. They would be able to secede from the Union, and they could hold us all hostage. And of course, we've been telling them things like, you know, oh, the North Korean missile crisis is nothing. Oh man, they're training over 100 hackers every year. You know why gasoline is so expensive, right? It's because OpenSSH has that new flaw in it. And I'm telling you, if we don't fix that OpenSSH flaw by October 1st, we're looking at $7 a gallon. And I'm being conservative. Thankfully, the United States Air Force, Major, it's good to have you here, has flown to the rescue. In the last 4 years, the United States Air Force has realized the need for cyberspace security. And T. Michael Mosley, the new general of the Air Force, came in and he realized that they have no enemy in the Air Force these days. And so he gathered all of his other generals together and he goes, generals of the square table, we have no enemy. Oh, that's right, General. We've got no enemy at all. If it flies, it's ours. That's right, General. The skies are friendly. Space is friendly, too. Yeah, that's right, General. Space is friendly. We need to defend something other than air and space. Well, otherwise, we're going to be a Department of the Army in 10 years. Yeah, that's right. We need to defend something. Who's got something we can defend? Anybody? Anybody. Way in the back, there's a guy called A6. He's in charge of all the computers. Oh, General, pick me. Pick me. I know what we can defend. Oh, I got something we can defend. Pick me. Pick me. A6, go ahead. The internet. Of course, it all makes sense. We're all going to defend cyberspace. It's America's new lifeblood. Yeah, we're going to defend the internet, General. That's great. We're going to defend it from what? Who's our enemy? I need an enemy we can describe in one word. A6 back here. Oh, me, pick me. I know the enemy. I can defend the enemy. Oh, give me the A6, go ahead. Children. Of course, it all makes sense. Children are defending America's cyberspace. Oh, we got to do it. And so, in 2006, the United States Air Force revised its mission statement. They now fly and fight in air, space, and cyberspace. That's their actual mission statement. Donald Rumsfeld signed off on this. They now defend cyberspace. Of course, cyberspace has no real enemy, so the United States Air Force is protecting us from airmen who are surfing the web from Iraq. Yes, America can breathe free again. We will root out cyber terrorism wherever we may find it. Oh, man. This is an actual case study. It's by a company called Beyond Security. That's their logo up in the upper left. It's a real case study of a cyber terrorism attack. This was published last month. As you know, the Israelis have, invaded Lebanon again. And these kids, who are sympathizers of Lebanon, owned a bunch of websites. And down here at the bottom, you can't read it, but it says, for every Palestinian person you kill, we will kill an Israeli server. That's going to bring the Zionists to their knees. But this is what you're showing Joe Sixpack as the need to defend cyberspace. This is what you've been trying to get Joe Sixpack to love you for. But when Joe Sixpack goes out to CNN.com,